Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be reviewing the 2023-2024 transfer window from Bradford City. What would you rate it out of 10? What would you think about Stephen Gent, Mark Hughes and Ryan Sparks and the recruitment team on this window? Who's been the standout signings? Who's been the flop of the season? We're going to go through a tier list, so let's get straight into it. So this is the tier list then. Let's get straight into it and waste no further time. We'll get straight in with, we'll go with Ayugoki. I'm not convinced by this lad. He's had a tough start to his career at Bradford City. He's been playing as a wing back, he's been playing as a midfielder, and he's not very good at either. He came on in midfield the last couple of games, Mansfield and Crewe, I believe, and might have been Wrexham as well. And he's been okay. He's been steady in there. Last 10 minutes or so, he can use his strength and his ability on the ball to keep the ball ticking. And the type of a Ryan East type of player, and we'll get onto him in a bit. We will do with East and Young, the loan signs, and a couple of the players we renewed contracts of as well. But yes, I'm not convinced by him. Going forward, I think he's poor. He hasn't got a lot of pace, although I think he has. I just don't think he has the effort to put the pace in. Defensively, I think he's weak. I think he gets caught out of position a lot, switches off, and his defensive awareness is just not there. And I don't think he's particularly good at putting a tackle in. Going forward, like I say, I think he's got a bit of ability going forward, but he doesn't always show it. Whether that's a confidence thing, I don't know. And then when you look at the MK Dons fans, they didn't rate him. They didn't think he had much ability at all. And I think you can always look at that. I think you always have to look at the opposition fans of where you got a player from and what they think about. He's just not as good as Brad Halliday. And, you know, I've said it a lot on this channel. We don't need to improve that position because there's not a lot of improving that can be done when you've got Brad Halliday, who is as good as a right back as any in this division. I'd debate it with anyone. You know, there's some great right backs in this division, but I think Brad Halliday can have a debate in that discussion any day of the week, and he's definitely, for me, lower League One standard. I think is brilliant. From the fence to the forward areas, Tyler Smith, I want to put him higher. I think he's got the potential to go higher. I really rate him. I know he's got a bit of criticism. I know that he ain't everyone's cup of tea, but for me, he's a fantastic player in the making. I like his abilities. All his attributes that are good makes a good player. He's got a good sharp shot on him, and he was the type of player we needed to go on time. We needed someone who can play as a striker, got a bit of pace about him, and he's a good finisher in the box as well. And when I've seen Tyler Smith's goals and I've seen his highlights at previous clubs, that's what he's known for. That's what he's good at. The hardest part is having the confidence to keep making those ones and to get yourself into the best opportunities if you're not quite taking your chances. And I think that's what we saw against Mansfield. So hopefully he can come back in the team and keep getting in those opportunities, because I think he's definitely the right type of player that we needed. With Ash Taylor, now this category, not convinced, was made exactly for Ash Taylor. He's got a lot of criticism. He's not the type of defender I'd personally be going for. He's not got pace, and it does often look like he's got glue stuck to his feet because he doesn't move quick at all, and it takes him a while to get going, and he can get easily skinned by attackers. We've seen it in pre-season, we've seen it against Crawley, we've saw it, and we've heard from it as well as seen a few clips as well from Walsall and Northampton fans saying this guy is not good enough. However, I'm not writing him off yet. I think there's a player in there. We've obviously seen it at Kilmarnock. He's got some good underlying stats at Kilmarnock, and a few of his clips I've seen, he does look like a strong, steady player who can make a difference. He's got a good long throw. He's good in the air. There's parts of his game that I like. The one excuse I could make maybe is that in pre-season he might have had a niggle, and then against Crawley he did complain about his Achilles, and now he's been out for quite a long time. Bobby Poynton, the difference maker of all difference makers. Now, I must have to say, I didn't really go through the categories, did I? Solid explains itself. Proof in the pudding, you know, I've basically explained that with Smith. Potential. These are players who haven't quite been given a chance, but we know they've got something, or we don't know anything, but we can't really put them in any other category. Not convinced I've already said that, but difference maker is a bit French, but it's difference maker. It just don't quite fit. But Poynton is a difference maker. Now, last season or whenever, I would have put him in potential. You know, we don't know too much about him. He's playing a lot in the side last season. Players have said that. And this pre-season, he got given a chance in the first team to go and express himself, to take on the players in training. He got the pre-season games. Starlight, star boy, you know, were fantastic in those. Sean, I think I can't remember exactly what game, but one game made me realise, yeah, he's got something as Poynton. And then in the first few games of the season, he's been brought into a team, and Hughes has said, this is another stupid point by Hughes, and it will follow. We will talk about this player next, but He said Ryan East went on loan to give Bobby Point a chance in the team. I mean, is he trying to get the sack, or is he just genuinely clueless? I mean, Ryan East is a number 6 or number 4, whichever way you want to put it. He's a sitting midfielder who can control the ball in modern day football. Or if you just want him to sit a bit higher, he can be a number 8. He's not a number 10 or can play on the wing. He's just not that player. And that's what Pointon is. He's a player who wants to create great decision making in the final third, got a bit of pace over in his natural talent, got a good shot on him, but his composure in the final third is what really sets him between anyone else in the team. And that's why we're overhyping him, because we're not. We're just hyping him up to be something that he can go on to be if he keeps his head down, because he's got the ability and he's just got everything you need from a player. He's got that direct, and he's a difference maker because he takes the game by the scruff of the neck. He's the influential player in that team. He's dragging everyone. That gives a lot of leadership as well. So he's the difference maker in this squad. And then on Ryan East, then I'm not convinced because of the judgment by Mark Hughes to loan him out. I'm not convinced of his reasoning of blaming Point and coming through. I don't understand that. Two completely different players. He brought in McDonald, who will come into it next. Give me thoughts on him. They're the two similar players you're comparing to. And for me, I'd much rather have Ryan East because he has the energy, he has the tenacity, he's more dynamic than Kev McDonald. Whilst McDonald's got the other side to it, but East don't have with the experience, with the leadership, and they might be fantastic round the dressing room. I also think East was as well. I'd much rather have Ryan East any day. So not convinced with the judgment. Definitely convinced with a player. For me, if he's a player, I'm putting him in solid. I think he's been fantastic every time I've seen him at City. Don't know how he's going on at Rochdale, but yeah, not convinced with the judgment of loaning him out. And we'll stick with that then. Jake Young, not convinced with the judgment to loan him out. I think he's been fantastic he has been fantastic at Swindon, obviously. Got nearly double the goals of us, which just further promotes criticism towards Mark Hughes, because it's like, well, do you know what you're doing? Because you've sent these two lads out on loan who are good young players who you should have been given a chance to. And when you play him Derbyshire in that game and you look at Jake Young and he's going to score 2 for Swindon, it's not a good look for Hughes, and he hasn't had a particularly good week, has he? Let's be honest. But with Jake Young, we knew as fans that he had something about him. Whilst I wasn't overly confident about him, like a lot were, I'll give them credit that where it's due. But I thought his technical abilities left lacking. I thought his first touch were a bit dodgy at times. I thought he didn't track back a lot. But in terms of his raw ability and his eye for a goal, he was second to none with his strikes. I mean, we're talking absolute rockets, but rockets that didn't just fly to NASA. They had great trajectory that just landed in the top corners. And we talk about the Sheffield Wednesday game in the Cup. Yeah, maybe they didn't want gone to full strength for that Wednesday, but he was fantastic in that game. I think it was Crow also in August scored a great goal. And that September, August, he should have got one late September, October to really kick on. So Mark Hughes goes, right, you're a young lad. You're proving to me that you've got a good eye for goal. I'm going to give you 5 games in this team in the right system for you. And I'm going to try and build my team around you for these 5 games. If you don't work out, you go out on loan in January. But I'm going to give you a chance and I'm going to give you the confidence. And that's what Michael Flynn's done. Pete Wild didn't do it, although I love Pete Wild. I think he's a great manager. He didn't do it. I do think that that's all it takes for a player. And when you can see someone's got that ability, you build that around them, because you can't say he didn't show it at City when he had those games. So the judgment of Mark Hughes, again, like Ryan East, I don't agree with the judgment to loan him out. And to be not giving him a chance above a Matt Derbyshire. Whilst you can blame Gent for the recruitment, you can't blame Gent for the player recruitment of bringing in a player like a Jake Young, who's proven that he should have been given a chance. But Mark Hughes said he wanted him in. He will have had the final word, and he didn't give him a chance in the team. That is 100% on Mark Hughes. And you can't blame Stephen Gent because he identified the player. Mark Hughes obviously said, yes, I'll give him a chance. And that's where the 3-year contract came from. So Gilead. On contracts, Gilead, for me, was a great... I was delighted when we signed him, but for me, you need a Gilead in your team. You need someone who's got that tenacity, someone who's going to just give the team a bit of energy and a bit of passion. And for me, Gilead gives that in abundance, and really like him. I think he's a great athlete, something you Mark, you say all the time, and he is. Don't get a lot of injuries, although... obviously he's just come off the back of an injury, as I say that, but he doesn't genuinely get a lot of injuries, and he's versatile. He's a team player. You don't get a lot of team players. And for me, I'd try and get him in the team and make him captain. I think if you're playing the back five, you don't need two defence midfielders. You could argue you don't need one. Why not give him the captaincy and go with Patterson and him in midfield? Go for pure passion, pure energy, pure dynamism in that midfield. And it would bring out an inspired confidence, I think, in your Gileads and Pattersons. I'd much rather see that. I mean, how exciting would that be? Your Gilead and Patterson in midfield with a couple of number 10s who can play out wide, who can offer that. But yeah, Gilead, really rate him, and I think he's definitely one of the most underrated players we've ever had. I'd go as far as saying that because his work ethic is fantastic, and he don't get the praise for that, in my opinion. But of course, let me know your thoughts on these players in the comments down below as well. Make sure you do your player ratings if you want to do that, or you can just go with my category, or just give me an individual player, however you want to do it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Clark Odra will stick with a solid winger who's been a very exciting winger so far. Basically number 10 with Mark Hughes' system, but they do occasionally float out wide to try and give us a bit of width, although it doesn't happen an awful lot. Clark Odra has already been a very solid player for us, and that's how I'd rate him. He can't be called a difference maker or anything above a solid because he's only had 2 or 3 good games, and that's good enough for a winger. They're inconsistent. That's always apparent with wingers, but he's got good balance, good feet, good movement, good eye for space, and I'm already very impressed with him. I want to beginning as a left wing back, especially in pre-season, but in that role, he's got a lot more freedom, a lot more time to try and create chances, and I really rate him thus far. Heath Richardson, get him out the way. He's got potential. We don't know anything about him. I can't say I'm not convinced. Never seen him in my life. Can't play him any higher because I've never seen him in my life. He's obviously got potential because there's a young lad coming through. It'll be interesting to see how he does this season. Maybe if he can get a bit more game time, maybe in Papa John's, I don't know. And maybe we can have a look at him then, and we'll see what he's like come the end of his next contract. And we'll stick with that then and go with Adam Wilson as well. An exciting player. He's got potential, that's for sure. 23 years of age. We got him from All Saints or New Saints. I don't know. He's someone in Wales anyway. And he's a very exciting player from what I've seen of him, but he needs one in the team. Mark Hughes said it'll give him a couple of weeks until he's up to scratch, which is interesting. Kerry McDonald for me, proofs in the pudding. It's an interesting one. I think he's a solid player. He ain't going to make too many mistakes, but it's so early on. But I can't say if I'm impressed with him or not. I think if he's going to be playing in a midfield 2 of Smallwood and Dim, then especially with a back 5 behind him, he's going to get scapegoated with Smallwood. But it's not his fault, and it's not Smallwood's fault if they're playing in that system, because it's Mark Hughes for being too stubborn with him and getting his favourites in. I think McDonald could be a really good 6 to control the game, but he ain't going to be a good tackler. He's not got the energy. He can't get around the pitch for me. So I think it could be a wasted space to start him. A couple of games, it will suit him more than others. But like I say, with Ryan East, I'd rather have an energetic midfielder than, a midfielder who could be walking around with his eyes closed because he's going to be ineffective. Liam Rideout, not convinced why we gave him a contract. Again, another player who's ineffective, really. And, like I said, with Taylor, he walks around with glue on his feet. He's running in quicksand because he don't get about the pitch. He's too slow. He don't produce anything attacking-wise. I think when I watch Rideout in the final third, he does put a decent cross in. It's just getting to the opportunity to put a good cross in because he's way too slow and off the pace. So he slows us down in that regard. He can't take on a player as well. That's something we saw last season. And he exposes us down that side because teams, when he's starting, use that to their advantage because they know that a pacey, tricky winger can get at him and cause him problems. Let's players come on the inside, don't stop crosses. So everything you can describe that's bad about a fullback, you end up talking about Liam Rideout. So he's just terrible and not convinced by that signing. To renew his contract after 2 years, why do we have to watch him for free? Not against Liam Rideout, like I say, I always say that. Not against a person. It's also about the club to why do you renew a player we all know ain't good enough. But then, it can also be a system type thing as well. But I think Rideout has just not been up to the standard since he first came in, unfortunately. Obviously, I want all these players to work out. Proofs in the pudding with Tulloch. First couple of showings I've seen of him against Mansfield and last weekend against Grimsby looks really good. Tricky player, got a bit of pace and wants to be direct and take players on. Good dribbles he's had up against players. one thing I think could be a repeated theme with him, unless he doesn't settle in these next couple of games, is the end product. I think he tries doing too much, which could be the balance of which way does this ring? Does it turn into where he turns that into creating great chances and getting a load of assists and goals for it? Or does it turn into doing too much and then it fizzles out and then he turns into one of our poor loans again? It'll be interesting to see which way it swings, but like I say, proof's in the pudding. Do you get any more of a difference maker from Patterson? I said it with Poynton, but Patterson is the difference maker. We needed a central midfielder who's dynamic, he's a box-to-box midfielder, he's tenacious, he will get back and defend, he'll put a tackle in, but he does the final third bit really well. He's always got great numbers with goals and assists. I'll quickly go through these then. That's as simple as that is. I think everyone improving the pudding could be good signings, but it could go the opposite way. I think Richards, I will put him in solid because he's had a lot of games now and I like the look of him. Fantastic going forward. Needs to put a few more crosses in. He does get a bit stuck on the ball and he goes back a couple of times, but that comes with having Smith and Derbyshire up front in the majority of his games, so I'll give him the benefit out with that. Tompkinson, only seen a few minutes of him, but so proves him pudding, but I really like the look of him, the profile of centre-back we needed. A Foker, false nine, he came on, creative, dynamic, direct, wanted to take players on, and I think he could be a real exciting player. Got the good build for it as well. So when you look at them three signings, I think they've got all the attributes that you need, and I think everyone above potential has got that. Obviously, a couple of signings in I'm not convinced about, but on the whole, I'd give it a 7 with potential to go higher and potential to go lower. But I think overall, Stephen Gent's had a good window. I think Mark Hughes has had a stinker. I think that's the way you look at it. I think it don't get said enough, but you've got to judge your scouting recruitment side of it completely in a different category to your manager, because they can be recruiting good players and they can be recruiting the type of players that you need to come into a team and do well. The manager could go, "No, I don't want them. I'm not playing them." And that they might have already agreed, "Yeah, I'll have them." He's a nice shiny new toy, and they don't play him. I don't like him in training, or because that's lazy analysis from the manager to see if he wants him in his team. And we've seen that a lot with Mark Hughes so far in his City tenure, not fancying players that have gone on to already do well, or the fans are perceived to have done well at City. So, like I say, Richards, very solid signing and a player we needed. Patterson, unbelievable signing, a player we needed. Poynton's just an added bonus. Gillade were a good contract renewal. Clark Cudra offers something different and exciting in the final third, good balance from him and a very steady start. Tyler Smith is what we needed. We need a striker with pace to offer something different to Cook. McDonald, it could go either way. I'm not too fussed if we didn't get him or not. I would have preferred to have kept Tees, like I said. Tulloch and Chisholm Afoka, very exciting wingers who I'm glad we brought in for a bit more of flair in those final third areas that we needed. And Tompkinson, we need a pacey centre-back who's good on the ball to replace Warwick Critchlow. So when you look at that side of it, very good window. Your Taylors, your Yugokis, and the few loan players that were loaned out, that's where it gets a bit shaky for me. But on the scouting side of it, I'm very pleased. Let me know your thoughts on this window in the comments down below. Let me know your ratings or any type of players that you want to just talk about. Any sort of comment, it's massively appreciated in the comments down below. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you're new as well. Heading towards 300 subscribers. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.